Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 Make That $2,000 strap search. I've got my $2,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, a lot of times you guys see me pulling out a bunch of trinaries and a bunch of quads, and some of you are probably wondering, why do I save those? They're not worth any money. Well, I save them for personal reasons. I save them because I'm trying to match two particular serial numbers. By saving all quads, I have a much better chance of finding two of those with the same numbers. And by saving all trinaries, I stand a much better chance of finding two identical numbers that way. But there is no additional value on them. Okay. And the thing is that's not unique in the world of collecting. The best comparison I can make to coins for doing the same thing is when I watch people open up boxes of nickels. And do I even have to say it? When people go through boxes of nickels, what do they pull? They pull 1950s and earlier. That's what they save. Why? Well, because they were short print runs. Okay, well, I went through a coin collection with my mom, and she had inherited this. And there was a bunch of nickels that were all set aside that were all 40s and 50s. And we ended up taking all of the coins, to a coin shop to see what they were going to give us for them. And I know the guy. He was very fair on everything, and he was also extremely honest. When it came to the nickels, I said, these are all 1950s right over here. These are all 1950 nickels, 1950 to 1959. He said, is there any 1950D? I said, no. He said, is there any of this year? No. He says, then just take those to the bank. I said, what about the 1940s? He says, are there any Silver War nickels? I said, no. He may have asked about another nickel or two. I said, no. He says, then take them to the bank. In other words, unless you have a key date from the 40s or the 50s, they're worth the exact same as a nickel from 1960 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 2000. In other words, there's no additional value. Yet every single time somebody sorts through a nickel box on YouTube, what do they show you? All the 40s and 50s finds, even though they have no additional value. Now, I don't know if any of them have actually ever said that out loud, that there's no additional value for those 40s and 50s nickels. But I say all the time that there is no additional value for trinaries and quads. So there's that. All right. So let's get these out of the way and let's take a look at what I found this week. I did pull more than what I'm showing, but it was pretty hefty. So I pulled out some stuff, and we'll get to that in a second. I find notes that are taped up all the time, but this one is taped up with duct tape. And that's just, out of all the notes I've found, I've never found one duct taped together before. So there's that. Found a Where's George right here. Got to log that note. Another Where's George. And another Where's George. You don't need a stamp. You can simply write Where's George on there, and that'll get it done. As long as people can read it and find it, you're good to go. Another Where's George note, which I've seen before. This one, a North Star. I don't even want to try to read this person's writing, and it looks like it was dated 6/26/21, maybe. I don't know. I just thought it was neat because I found it. Now that I showed it, I'm sure it'll go back in circulation. Found a birthday note. 2015, either November 5th or the 11th of May. 1987, either March 4th or April 3rd. 1963, April 17th. 1957, June 12th or December 6th. Let's see, 2016, the 28th of December. So there's quite a few of those. Here's 1985. That would be September 18th. September 18th, 1985. Yep. And here's a trinary. Now, trinaries, I actually found a total of 10, but I think this might be the only one. This is 1 6s and 9s, one away from being a binary, and unfortunately that one, it's not a rotator because of that one. If it was a 0 or a 6 or a 9, it would have been. And here's another trinary. This one started off with 3 zeros, so a fairly low number, 0s, 3s, and 4s on that one. Another lower trinary. This one's 0, 7s, and 8s. This one was, how does that go? 1909 for a year, the 19th of January, but it's also 0s, 1s, and 9s. And here's quads. I also didn't, I found a total of 9 quads. I don't have all of them in here. Just the cool ones here. 6,000 or 60,000, I should say. Quad zeros there. Then the stars, 2017 star. Of course, I checked all these to make sure that both stars are, neither star is filled in. 2017A, 2017A, 2017. Lots of 2017s. I think, if I remember, I found a bunch of stars. For 2,000 notes, there's quite a few stars in this pile. I'm sitting kind of awkward, so I've got the camera in a weird spot. That's why my hands look so much bigger in this when they're close together. And just double checking. Yep, that's not filled in. Still 2017 stars. Here's the start of the 2013s. Another 2013. So yeah, tons of stars. There's a 2013B. I don't think that's in the range, but I'll check. Another 2013B. Still more and more stars. I like showing all the stuff that I find to give you guys an idea of how many I find in a particular group. This, yes, there's 2,000, but still out of 2,000 notes, that may seem like a lot of stars, but it's not really that many. Older notes, this one was 2006 in really good shape, so I wanted to check that against everything else I had. 2003A, another 2003A, another one. These were all in pretty good shape too. 2001 with quads and a 5th and a trinary, 1s, 4s, and 7s. 2001 as well. And another 1999, another 99, another 99, and another, and another. 1995, not a web note. Another 95, not a web note. Another 95, another 95, another 95 with a counter stamp. That's not an inking error. 1988. Yep, 1988, just making sure. Another 88. And the oldest note I found was a 1981A. A little bit of writing on it. That's too bad because I don't find a whole lot of those, so I'm always excited to see it, but then bummed when I see the writing. All right, so what did I bring out this week? Well, I brought out an error. Let's take a look at the error. Can you spot the error? If you can, you have better eyes than me. I'm showing you this side for a reason. The reason is you cannot see the error. And something that people always, I hear all the time is the ink bled through the paper. How many times have you heard that? The ink bled through the paper. The ink does not bleed through the paper, okay? Do you want proof the ink doesn't blend through the paper? Does this note look fine? Okay. Look at the back. That is definitely an ink smear, okay? Look how deep and dark green that is. There was a lot of dark green ink on the back of this note. There's no doubt about it. Even if you look, it goes all the way to the bottom there. And it looks like it would have gone into the next note as well. So that is a true ink smear. You can see there's a little bit up here, and then you get the major portion of it there. Now with as dark as that ink is, much darker than any other portion of ink on the note, if we turn it over, it most certainly did not bleed through. And like I said, there is more ink there than would ever be put on any other bill. And even with that much ink, the ink did not go through. So no, you're not going to get a bleed through error. What you may get is a wet ink transfer from one note to another, but bleeding through, no. If all of this ink can't make it through the paper, then your one little speck that you found somewhere else most certainly is not a bleed through error. But this here, like I said, this is really cool. Seeing a genuine ink smear on a note like that. There's a lot of people that will, say, "Oh, look, there's a little dot right here." And yeah, no. Sorry. that is what you're looking for when it comes to an ink smear. And if I have to tell you, don't spend these, um, you're watching the wrong channel. Of course, if you find something like this, you wouldn't want to spend it. Something like this can easily be in the $50 to $100 range, maybe more depending on the note. This particular one is a 1974 series, so it's been around for a little while, yet is still in relatively really nice shape. So that's what I've got for you guys this week, a 1974 with the ink smear, focusing mostly on the fact that no, it's not going to bleed through. So if you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.